And we're back.
I have my tea Earl Grey hot mug, by the way. My
Oh, very
official
nice.
Star Trek: The Next Generation merchandise.
You're
Product.
officially cooler than me right now, and that's not quite how I like things.
My first officer can't be cooler than me.
What are you doing, Riker?
Get
Get
off
in
my
your
bridge.
stay in your lane.
But I can't grow a beard though. So that makes you cooler, doesn't it?
No,
No,
you can be cooler than me. It's fine. I
just
don't
for
mind.
today. I'm
There's
allowed
there's enough room in the universe.
for two cool people. I don't think so.
Yeah. Until William Shatner gets in the room, and then
Oh my god.
there's only room for him.
Have you noticed that William Shatner was so cool back in his day, and now Chris Pine is like the coolest?
He is. It's true.
And
But
like he's
he
literally
was
replaced.
trained. He was trained by William Shatner, though.
It's
They like
insane.
worked together.
I know, but like to replace him as the captain, like the character is one thing, but he's like literally replaced him as the presence, as the
It's
coolness
like
presence in Hollywood. It's pretty awesome.
it's like a handle. It's like a mantle you pass down from generation. There has to be someone like William Shatner.
Yeah,
In
I
every
can't wait to see
generation.
Chris Pine in Wonder Woman. Like I know Wonder Woman's pretty cool. I enjoyed the first one, but I don't know. I want to see Chris Pine again.
Yeah, I saw your tweet. I don't think I interacted with it yet. I get like direct notifications that come in, and I don't know where I see them. Sometimes it's in an email, sometimes it's like in actual Twitter. So I apologize if
Bombarded.
it's so much Star Trek information comes to me. It's insane. But I saw that you tweeted about having a proper send off for the Kelvin Star Trek
Yes,
crew, and I agree 100%. I really like that.
I think it's Red Shirts Always Die that tweeted this. They were talking about something in regards to Star Trek 4, like colloquially called Star Trek 4. And I think that yes, it would be nice to have like a fourth Star Trek film. I'm happy that they officially designating the Kelvin timeline as such, because they released like a 3-pack trilogy Blu-ray where it's written in Star Trek the Kelvin timeline. I think that's pretty awesome.
Right.
I would like it to be like spoken on screen. I would like someone in the movies to say like, this is whatever timeline or whatever.
Well, how could that even work though?
I don't know
universe.
How it would work.
How would you ever get that? That's so crazy.
You would get that because someone would have to talk about like original Spock or Prime Spock and say like, who was this guy? How come there were two of you at some point? And someone would have to say, well, he came from another universe that he called Prime, for example. That he came from another.
But he didn't call it that. The thing is that
yeah, okay.
like no one. There's no. All these designations they're useful outside of the context of the actual.
Well, Georgiou says she's from the Mirror Universe,
right?
In Discovery, and she says, "I'm not Prime Georgiou."
She says that?
She says, "I'm not Prime Georgiou."
Wait, she says that? She could mean it in the literal sense of like Prime being the primary.
No, because then she's later on.
She would never do that because actually she would consider herself to be the Prime. Georgiou,
if I were from,
you may have just caught some bad writing. Bad writing.
I don't think so. I don't. Hey, look, I'm the first one to say that Discovery has bad writing, but in this context, I don't think so. If I were to come from a universe that I considered Prime because it's my universe, but when I arrive in some place and everyone designates my universe as Mirror and everyone calls their own Prime and I'm the only person there, then I would kind of, you kind of default to saying I'm from Mirror, you guys are from Prime. You know what I mean? Because that's the status quo.
That's not how I would do it. If I were lost in another,
you would be
universe,
like, I'm Prime, bitches.
No. I am Optimus Prime. No, prepare to fight me. I don't know. If I were in, I don't know why I just did an impression of Optimus Prime, which was not that great. It was not a great impression.
It was Optimus Prime with a sword as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, which sounds more like a lightsaber.
It's very specific.
I would just call it my universe and your universe. If I
Oh,
were
there you go.
interacting with
Oh,
people.
Mr. Simple.
It is simple, but that's how it works. That's how it works. In real life, that's the way that it would work. Like, are you telling me that if you were suddenly thrust into another universe and nothing extraordinary was
I
happening
think
there,
giving names and titles to things is cool.
it's
Which means
cool. What,
I would designate my universe with a
but what
name,
if you,
an
but
awesome
why would,
name. No one could disprove me because no one's been there anyway. And so
but
like
when they do and they find out you're a liar and
I
they
come
come
from
back,
the radical dude universe.
the radical, what, lewd,
Radical radical
lewd,
dude. Radical
what if,
dude. Everyone's radical, right?
all right, that's fine. Well, in your universe, that goes well, but in my universe, it doesn't. So, just FYI, when you're in my universe,
I have to respect the rules of your universe. That's it.
PG-13, PG-13. That's the only rule on Starfleet Boy.
I was gonna say your entire universe is PG-13. It's pretty limiting.
No, and then Drunk Space Nine's universe is NC-17,
Ooh.
unrated. Isn't there a
Underrated.
category? Unrated.
Before we get into this episode of TNG and before we get into the recap, I also want to share my opinion on the R-rated Tarantino movie. And
Oh yes,
I've gone on a Twitter rant about this as well, but a lot of people are complaining about how Star Trek shouldn't be R-rated. It's going to be terrible, etc., etc. Star Trek Discovery is R-rated, and you guys like it, so please don't bitch about the movie being that way. It's not
I didn't
R-rated
know anyone. I didn't
TV.
know anyone was bitching about it.
So many people are like, "Oh, I can't deal
Oh,
with this. It's R-rated, and I'm not gonna watch it because it's
it's
gonna be."
unheard of.
I
It's
mean,
unheard of. Get that off my screen.
Star Trek Discovery did rape, torture, severed baby heads, mangled bodies, swear words. I mean,
And aside
and now
from
you're worried about maybe someone saying "motherfucker." I mean, come on.
aside from using colorful metaphors as Spock would designate it, prime Spock would designate it. You happy? I'm using the labels. Aside from, I'll use them. I'm capable. I
Go
can
ahead.
do it.
It's your show. It's a universe. You can label them whatever you want.
Aside from using colorful metaphors as Prime Spock would say, all of Star Trek is like super R-rated anyways. Like, I mean, look at the stuff that Troy's been through in TNG alone, and
Oh,
the implications are there that, like, if you really watch the show, you're like,
it is
what's that?
it's like officially PG-13 as a show, but then there's so many things are
Yeah,
implied. I mean, just
crazy.
what's her face? What's her name? Tasha Yar, but the Romulan version, right?
Yeah, there's like there's a lot of crazy stuff
implies
going on.
Tasha Yar was, raped and
Yeah,
tortured and what have you by Romulans.
it's nuts.
That's a crazy story.
So,
Anyway,
speaking of nuts,
I think
there's one more
Tarantino
tweet of yours that I'd
really?
like to address.
I
Yes.
want to finish with this. I think Tarantino will make it because he does R-rated things, but he does it always in like a humorous fashion. Sometimes it's kind of darker humor, fine. But I think that if he's gonna put blood and guts or swear words or what have you, it'll always be in like a fun way. He won't take himself too seriously.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
But then maybe
Okay.
I'm a fan of Tarantino sometimes.
I'm a huge fan of Tarantino, so I have full faith in him.
Do you
But
like
yeah,
Kill Bill?
I mean, what's that?
Do you like Kill Bill?
Yeah, I love Kill Bill. I love all his movies.
That's insane.
I love
You're
Jackie
insane,
Brown.
sir.
I love Jackie Brown.
I haven't seen that
a
one.
lot. That's a good one. You should watch all of them. They're all good.
I should watch all of them.
Really. He's only had 9. There's only 9 films he's directed.
I know Star Trek would be the
It's
10th,
not.
but
Yeah, it's
he
not.
said he would end after 10, and I feel like would he really go out on Star Trek? Like,
That should. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Quentin Tarantino is a huge, at least huge fan of at least the original series and maybe TNG.
Oh, that's for sure.
For sure. I would know. I would feel like that wouldn't be a bad thing to do. I don't think he'll stop directing. I think directors say that.
They say that, and they're like, I'll just make one.
But you never know. I mean, he has every right to stop directing, and if he leaves on Star Trek, oh my gosh, what a thing for Star Trek!
An honor.
That would be.
As I was saying, he should call the movie Star Trek X because X for 10, and just I don't know, like just It sounds
I
cool.
love it.
Like
It
X.
could bridge. It could do what you want. It could bridge the Kelvin timeline
Oh
and
my
the
god.
Prime timeline.
Oh lord. It could be.
Captain Kirk Shatner himself
Oh,
will
so
come
many
on screen and be
Shatners,
like,
so many Spocks. So anyway,
anyways, it must be weird to be the cast members who are still with us today, or even at the ones that are gone. It must be so weird to be them, considering what they as people have built around them. As far as stars, it's a very interesting world. We'll leave it at that. And I want to say that your unpopular opinion for Star Trek: The Next Generation is very relevant in this episode, and that's what I wanted to lead into. See how I did that?
yes.
You see that? I
Transition
actually do have control. Number one.
This is my ship.
This is my show. No, but seriously, so we'll discuss this at length, I'm sure.
Ooh.
But just for the audience to think about as we do our summary, Data is dangerous and a liability. He also gets special treatment, much like Seven. And is that fair? So I think we're gonna talk. I feel like your tweet might have been inspired by this episode.
It was absolutely inspired by this episode.
Okay,
It was
cool.
inspired by my wife, because since we've been doing all the TNG rewatch, well, we finished the TNG rewatch. We've been rewatching Voyager now. From the get-go, she was like, "This guy's pretty unsafe, like to have on a ship." And I'm like, "Yeah, I agree. It's a pretty dangerous thing to have, just on your ship, right?"
He casually would say something like, "Sir, I can subdue every person on the bridge in 10 seconds."
But I mean,
like,
you would
he could do it. He could totally.
You would send a human just for saying something like that. You would send a human to like an institute, like just maybe don't say that kind of stuff.
I guess it gives one pause though, because aside from Data, I mean, this could be it's not a bit. It could be working with any alien species, and it is odd that the Enterprise bridge crew has only Worf and Deanna as the aliens, right? Everyone else is human.
I get the feeling that in Starfleet, although there are many, many species, I feel like they try to keep ships as like homogenous as possible. Because in the original series, you hear about like a Vulcan Starfleet ship. It's a Starfleet ship, but it's just Vulcan officers. And I feel like that kind of does make sense just for like linguistic, even though we have universal translators, etc. But just like expressions and linguistics, and maybe just culturally. Like if everyone grew up on Vulcan, then you put just Vulcans together. Maybe you can have one human or one Klingon or whatever. But I feel like it does make sense, and that would justify why we only see ships with, I don't know, humans, and we never see the Tellarite ships, and we never see like the Andorian ships.
It just makes sense for a lot of other reasons, because let's just say there's a species that we're friends with in, that's part of the Federation, let's say in Star Trek. However, their natural body fumes or odors, whatever, are lethal
absolutely,
to other
something like
species,
that. Yeah.
Right? There would be no way. It would be very difficult to have that person serve on a ship. So yeah, I agree that the ships are as homogenous as possible. But like you see benzites, for example, making accommodations. Like they don't need that on their home planet.
No,
or on their own ship.
If there were a Starfleet ship with only benzites, for example,
right?
They maybe wouldn't need that, and the only person you need to accommodate is the one human that you have on board.
Right.
And
that could be easily done
on
as
a
well.
biological level as well. Culturally, maybe I don't know. Everyone's of the same faith. So, because in the Enterprise, in Star Trek the original series, they have a chapel. They're assuming like everyone like maybe needs a chapel because they're humans. So you have like a representation of Earth religions. Maybe you have like a temple, a chapel, or whatever. But Vulcans or Klingons, they're very different. So if Klingons were part of Starfleet, Vulcans are part of Starfleet. They would have their own stuff.
Incidentally, chapels were done away with I imagine when holodecks came into existence,
Yeah,
because you didn't
I would
need to
say,
have.
yeah, you can have whatever you
You
want.
could have a freaking cathedral if you wanted to go and meditate or pray at a cathedral. You could. So, holodecks makes things better,
Oh
folks.
yeah, it does make things easier.
Do you want to do the summary or shall I?
I can do the summary. I can do it.
All
It's
right.
not very long, is it?
No.
No.
Although this is I think a great episode. So that's the tone of my argument is it was great. So we'll see what
Well,
your argument
I give a
is.
summary that has no tone, sir.
That's right. You're very neutral. You're very exact. I think you
I'm
just
very
stick to the
exact.
facts. You just stick to and that's the real. Hats off. That's the real way to do it.
Um, the Enterprise rolls up to a planet on which there's like an experimental mining facility, which is mining whatever ore or whatever molecule or whatever it is. And they have to see if the technology is worthy, so that they can maybe implement it later on, or like basically give a report to Starfleet and see if Starfleet wants to implement it somewhere else. Turns out on this facility, there's more things going on. There's little robot thingies, basically little tool robots that are
Yeah,
being.
the direct. I don't know if she's the director of the project or just the lead scientist, but she built them to help her work, which is
Yeah,
the drill, right?
the lead. Well, apparently these robots have already been implemented. They already exist on the planet, but as very like basic functions. She's been enhancing them, making them better. So she has three that are currently helping her with difficult to access things going on the station or whatever.
They get
But
her coffee in the morning, for example. Like when she's stressed out, they give her a massage. They're very like
I'm not sure about that.
they're very useful robots.
A massage,
Exocomp.
a massage on that wouldn't be real
Do you
nice.
think she names them Exocomp number 1, 2, and 3? And now that she knows they're alive, do you think they'll have names like
Steve,
Dinky or a Skeeter? Are they like pets, or are they
I
like
don't know. She
people?
doesn't
What
seem
are
like
they
the kind of
gonna
person.
be?
She doesn't seem like the kind of
How's
person
she
to
gonna
do that.
All right, sorry, I had
But I mean,
to.
you'd have to call them Spark or something, wouldn't you? Clank.
Spark, Clank, Spark, and Tumble. Just to be.
No, because Tumble died.
Uh,
Spoilers.
I always forget. Oh, poor Tumble. I actually got really emotional, but go on. Sorry. All right. I derailed your summary. I apologize.
The emotion is overwhelming. I can't do this. Um, anyway, so the lead scientist, or the main person on board, she's tweaked these little gadgets, these little tools, so that they are more efficient and more useful. And so the episode focuses on how Data realizes that basically these robots are making decisions that seem kind of like out of the realm of the decision of a tool. They seem to be more than a tricorder or more than a coffee maker or whatever. And it's basically the measure of a man too, but kind of not. Where Data tries to prove and tries to understand and see if these robots are in fact sentient and alive, and if they deserve kind of to be treated the same way as any other life form does. It's also a tale of how he finds himself kind of feeling less alone in the universe, because there's another kind of I don't know, cybertronic or robotic being,
Right, like sentient life form.
and it's proven that they are indeed alive. They want to force them to save the day by blowing them up, but they're not fine with that. So they ask them what
No,
they think.
Data is not fine with that.
Data's not fine with that.
He like totally does the thing that you were
Da-
worried about.
Data does
And
the thing that we're worried about. He takes control of basically the
the whole
transporter,
situation.
the
Yeah.
situation. He just
Yeah.
blocks everyone out, and he forces everyone to kind of ask these little robots, the exocomps, what they think about the situation, and they decide that they found a better solution that can help save Picard and Geordi, which are now stuck on the mining facility that's gone wrong, and they save the day, but they have to sacrifice Tumble, one of the three, in order to get the other two out. So they
That's
exhibit
fair.
compassion as well, or is
That's
it
fair.
compassion? Is it empathy? What is it? What do they exhibit?
I guess
Rational,
that they would
logical,
exhibit empathy because you have to put yourself in someone else's shoes to like acknowledge that your life is worth giving up for theirs, right?
But
And then
did they like draw short straws for this thing, or did they randomize it, or did they just
to
like
be honest, I
thought the
think that
most
they
broken?
to be, this is all in okay, so we're going right into our discussion. If you haven't noticed, audience. John started asking the real tough questions. I have no idea what's really going on, but what I imagine based on my like understanding uh
His
of
computations were slower.
yeah,
It was
like so
dumber.
I think I think the exocomps don't feel emotions, at least the way that we interpret them. I think they are probably like data, like but even more extreme. They're probably just extremely
They
logical,
they
right?
calculated the like the one that
Yeah,
functioned the least or whatever, the one that had the most
right,
issues. You know,
right. They're like I think they are more I mean they're obviously exhibiting like the signs, the same categories that we would look for in humans or quote unquote higher species to like determine what kind of
hmm
life forms they are because and I don't know about the lore behind this. This is where I wish like kind of Humbert was on, but I imagine that the exocomps would the two that are left like continue to replicate themselves and create a whole civilization now. And I wouldn't be surprised if by Picard the exocomps are like working with us on like a ton of it would be an awesome little nod to this episode anyways if they brought
I
the
think
exocomps
that the exocomps
back.
continue to replicate themselves on the planet, but destroy all of the people on the planet because they're like, it's the classic AI trope, the
and
robot
then
trope.
and then Data feels guilty that he saved them.
Data
It's
Data
like
has Data rolls up and he's like, oh God, oh no, why did I do that?
the
Actually, no, Data's dead too, so it has to be B4 to deal. B4 has to deal with
right.
this,
Well, yeah.
and he's not ready. He's not emotionally
They're,
prepared to be accused of,
yeah.
you know.
They could do whatever they want. They don't have to follow the countdown series. I don't think if they can remove that. It can be conveniently removed.
What are you even talking about? Something. It doesn't need to be removed. It's not there in the first place.
I but all your
The
B4
cannon knife
data,
has
all
cut.
the B4 data stuff stops at Nemesis, so we
It
don't have
does.
anything
So
official.
there's
So we don't
nothing.
really know.
It's
There's
just
nothing.
it's just B4 humming a tune. That's it.
Yeah, but I think it was highly suggestive that Data is in there somewhere. Like
Yeah,
B4 can access him.
but I
Like it'd
think
be
that
cool. It'd be cool if Data cares so much about the Data consciousness, cares so much about his brother before that they have to ask each other permission. And what happens is you literally see the android change. So like B4 is like super simple, like just going about his life, and then all of a sudden Data appears, and he's like, and it's like Brent Spiner loves to do that shit anyways. So he can do these two characters and go back and forth between the two, and it'd be like kind of making sense in my opinion
I'm sure he could
as to
do
what could
that. I
happen.
just don't feel that seems out of character for Data.
B4 could have, and we've talked about this before, but B4 could have built a Data body
I
and
don't
then
think so.
just
He's not capable of that. He's
we
not
don't know.
intelligent enough.
He was built. Oh wait, but he was built to assist Dr. Soon in building Data and lore and Data.
I
So
know, but even Data couldn't recreate, like even Data, the finished product, couldn't recreate one.
couldn't update his yeah, and he couldn't do anything about B4's. So okay, we're gonna go.
Okay,
We're going
okay,
deep into the Soon
there's
theory
no
crafting
there's
here.
no one there's no one alive capable of recreating a Data or like a some type android. Full stop. That's what's been
If I were
established.
Soon, if I were Dr. Soon, I would want to create a Android that like got up to data, but to do it I would have to create a B4. I would have to create a worker because I wouldn't be able to physically do the things
Yeah,
that as fast as that, you remember his hands when he was like trying to do LOL and all that stuff, right?
to fast
Like
forward.
I would need a B4 to assist me to build a lore and a data. And
Absolutely.
that's why B4 exists. And he's awesome because he has all the motor functions and he has all, like, his body itself is pretty
It's just his
advanced.
mind isn't developed
It's
enough.
just his mind is only enough to be the best assistant that I ever could need. So,
I think the more logical route to go with this is before now has all of the data collected and all of the memories collected by before has all of the all of the memory and all of the data collected by data. And he can access
Jordy figures it out.
that and use that, and he that helps him enhance himself the same way Control in Discovery enhances himself with the sphere data.
Yeah,
But
I
I
buy that. That's right.
I don't think I think it would be out of character for Data to either like take over Before's consciousness permanently or not temporarily. I think
Well,
it
that's
would be
why I
out of
said they would
character
ask each other permission.
because
It would be a line of dialogue that
Data's
it
so
would be
human ultimately
no, but it
that
would be very simple. It would be like it would be like, all of a sudden Data appears, and then Jordy's like, who's trying to help B4 acclimate to the ship, let's say. He's just like trying to find a job for B4, right? And then all of a sudden Data appears, and Jordy's like, what the F? Like, and he's like, Jordy, don't worry, I have permission to be here. And he goes and he explains the whole situation.
Mm,
And then B4 helps Jordy to build the next soon type android. I mean, I totally think it could be done. And
okay.
B4 and Data actually is the one that helps him, but it's through B4. Like then he puts his own consciousness back into himself. I mean, it's totally legit in my opinion.
I don't think
For
Data would
Data
want to
to
do that.
do that.
I don't think he would want to do. I feel like it goes against.
You think he'd want to be dead? Like Data does not want to be like erased from existence. What do you think his choices are?
Well, first of all, it's not Data. It's his like it's
It's Data.
It's
That
not
is
Data. It's the memories and the data collected by Data. It's
But
not.
what are we? Data's soul is in
Data
his
Culture.
perhaps. Yes, it's true. Whatever. Now we're getting philosophical here, but whatever is the essence of Data could be downloaded into B4. And
Pokemon.
what's unique about Data is that it's unimportant. He's unencumbered by his body, unlike ourselves. We're very like, we get old, we age, whatever. Data doesn't do any of that.
The cloud.
What's that? Yeah, he's the cloud. He's on the cloud. Data's on in fact, one should assume that the cloud exists in Star Trek. It should be what is it called? Retconned into Star Trek. The cloud, the internet, all that should be retconned into Star Trek.
Do you know Pokemon?
A little bit, just a very little
Not
bit.
too much, because the exocomps remind me a lot of Porygon.
Porygon. What is a Porygon? I'm gonna
Porygon is Porygon, Pory G-O-N. Porygon.
Porygon Z or Porygon
No,
2?
Porygon normal, Porygon classic.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
pink and
oh yes,
teal.
I see it.
And it reminds me of that quite a lot.
What if they turned into the Pokemon of TNG, like of the future? I mean, what if they all just like look different, but they're always cute? Like they figured out that the way to survive is to be as cute as possible.
With the little moving parts and everything, they were designed to be cute. These things.
Tell me you wouldn't want to buy Baby on the Tube, a plush toy Exocom.
I would have one for myself. That's what's going on.
That they're so cute. In fact, can one buy one? I want to see.
Oh my god, this is a nonsense discussion.
Oh my god, there's toys. I didn't know they made toys of them.
Okay.
I wonder if the doctor has the toy.
I'm going to say something. I've been having
controversial. I'm going to say something controversial.
Not necessarily. We've been having discussions online about how I appreciate Dr. Pulaski, and it's common knowledge now that I prefer Dr. Pulaski to Dr. Crusher. And
I didn't know. It wasn't common knowledge. I didn't know that.
Well, it is.
I'm just finding this out. Wow, I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
Beverly to me is a bit boring as a character.
But But
But
come
in
on,
this
this
episode,
episode.
but
Okay,
in this
yes, I
episode,
was gonna say
she's pretty awesome because
she
not
is
only
awesome.
does she have that awesome dialogue in the beginning where they're playing cards and she's all like daring them and she's like, take off your beards. She says, she's basically emasculating them and calling them out on their beards. And then she's fighting Worf with a batleth in the holodeck.
It's
She's
true.
freaking
She's
awesome.
pretty awesome.
This was
She is
epic
pretty.
level.
See, yes,
So
this is what I always knew, and
the
you're just
crusher
learning
this is the
how cool.
crusher that I want. Why does she revert back to annoying, I don't respect your belief, doctor, every other episode?
I like the whole tone of this episode. I love that they started with that scene that you kind of referenced where they were playing poker in the beginning. I love that it was a small game. It's not like they all get together all the time. Like it's
Yes,
not
you
all
gotta
like
care,
they.
right?
Yeah, it was. Well, yeah, I thought that was cool too. It's just like a thing they do for fun. Is if you can get a group of 3 or 4, let's play poker. And I love the bet. And so, what did you think of Jordy's beard?
I don't know what to think of that. Look, I mean, I
I
had
like it. I
okay.
like
First of all,
it.
what's the real world explanation for this? Did he have like
I
little?
have no idea.
Was he was he doing something else? Did he have like a
I'm
secondary
sure that's
project? That's why the beard's coming out, and they thought I will just make comments about it and joke about it. Did he actually want to grow a beard, and everyone was just like, "This is ridiculous"? So the writers kind of made fun of him. I don't know.
I will say that like
Do we
the
ever
only thing
get
I
his
can think
full
of
like? Because we still haven't got the finished product. This feels like it's coming in, but it's not really there yet,
right.
right?
The only thing I can think of that the reason for the whole beard gag, I think of it as a gag. First of all, it's
Oh,
it's
it's a
definitely treated that way. It's
gag.
like it's like funny, it's like
It's a mockery.
they've now done it over the course of like 3 episodes or something like that. Like it actually is like kind of a mini serialized
Oh,
portion.
it's the beard arc.
The beard arc. Yes, it's the beard arc. But I can
Gripping.
historically all I can think of is, and someone else said this, I forget who it was, or where Braxton said it on our last episode. He was like, I don't understand how any of them have facial hair. Like in a military organization, you're supposed to be clean shaven, and like all I can think of is at that time
But he's a military man, isn't he, Braxton?
I believe I believe so. I should know this. Darn it!
I've only met him once. You should know these things. You're the captain here.
Braxton, I'm gonna send you a schedule. Anyways, I'm
Everyone
sending everyone a
should send you
schedule.
a profile. Everyone should send you that, and so you can pull up their profile and just read up on them, like a bio, so that you know everything about everyone.
No, I don't have time. That's what database person does. I got a show to run, Sean.
This is part of it. This is part of the attributions of being the captain.
What I was trying so hard to get to was that the only thing I could think of is back then, I remember it was unheard of to have a beard in any job. All my jobs required shaving.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all of them. And then it changed. Like all of a sudden, every single job I had up until I moved to Seattle required shaving. Apple was loose with it, but
Seattle don't care. What goes on in
so
Seattle that they don't care about beards?
well, just but overall, now that I've come back from Seattle, I see this everywhere. Like no one cares. You can have any kind of facial hair you want nowadays. It's not like a restriction any longer. And it's odd now. Only a few jobs now are like you have to, have your beard.
Even in
shaved,
kitchens now, you can have beards. You just have that little cover up,
the beard net, yeah,
beard net, so you can keep your. I mean, it's because some people have very righteous looking beards, right? They have
great beard. Are you kidding? Like, yeah, it's like
they
awesome
have facial hair, on point. So just put your little net over it so that you don't have to like take it off.
That's true. My original plan was to shave my beard for this episode to like play on that humor, but alas, Starfleet boy,
I did that. I'm fine.
You did it. Good job. All right, and what segment are we in now?
I don't know. Okay, we're on the segment that the mining facility is basically a precursor to the technology they use in Star Trek 09.
Yes,
It looks so
it's the
much.
same idea.
I
Yeah,
think actually it's not. I would in my head canon, it's like this: the technology that they use in Star Trek 09, um, is kind of like more basic than this one. This is a prototype of something even they're like enhancing the design of tech that's pretty basic in 09. Does that make sense?
I see it a different way.
You see it as 09 more advanced than this.
Yeah, and but the only thing that I want to say is I also see a differentiator, which is whatever they seem to be mining on this episode is a lot like gentler than whatever the Narada mines. The Narada like seems to be a digging type laser or whatever, or
this is yeah.
yeah. So they're like whatever the Narada mines. I imagine they're like destroying like mountains. Like you could probably do that with their, and then scooping up all the minerals or whatever they need from it. So, which is interesting also that this episode, the Narada shows mining in a very gritty way, like hardcore, like you have a huge ship that goes from planet to planet and does this, whereas this is definitely like a more refined operation.
I suppose it does depend on what you're mining. I mean,
right.
Because if you're mining Bitcoin, you're not as dirty as if you're mining coal, right?
You went too far. You went too far. You went too far.
Come on, how was that too far?
It was funny, but it was too far. You can't make that comparison.
Okay, I can see that was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. It was humor. It was pure humor, and I loved it. But but it's not a part of this argument in my universe.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
I see what you mean. There are certain things that demand like precision and science to be mined, whereas other things it's just kind of like it's basically a better version of a spade or a shovel, I guess.
right. Crazy ass shovel, and then with that red matter. Oh my god!
The tech kind of looks the same. It's the same kind of technology.
Right, I agree, and it's great that I don't know if that was intentional, but it's great that it's tied in like that. Good job, Sean.
Good job, Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. Good job, Star Trek. Period. Good job, Star Trek.
Double thumbs up.
You finally pleased us. Carry on. Tea, Earl Grey hot.
What have I got in my notes?
You covered.
I heard the X.com, so basically the dogs that Boston Dynamics are developing at the moment.
I don't even. Yes, if those dogs all of a sudden stopped and acted erratically from their programming, absolutely.
Well, I mean, they keep on kicking them in every video I see. So maybe eventually they'll be like, "Please stop," or they'll move away or something. Maybe they'll develop.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
It would be scary because then they would turn into the dogs from Black Mirror.
Wait, I don't think I've seen that episode.
You know one? There's
Black Mirror really freaks me out.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to watch it.
It's not as
scary show.
But there are there's some pretty scary episodes in there.
I get scared too. Starfleet Boy doesn't like scary shit.
Shout out to Gary that apparently watched The Quiet Place recently and got scared. And
what is that?
Well, it's a horror film or horror thriller, science fiction, whatever. And I got it.
Is that part of the universe that J.J. Abrams created?
A Quiet Place is it's one movie. It was directed by John Krasinski, the guy from The Office.
The guy from The Office?
Jim from The Office. It's a really good movie. It is
by the way,
pretty intense thriller.
What happened to Bob?
Bob.
Yeah, you used to mention Bob all the time on your video.
I have this sort of thing where I mention Bob. I mean, Bob appears when I talk about canon and lore. Right? When I talk about the uniform colors and that kind of stuff. And I've only been doing reviews recently and news. And I mean, Bob doesn't care about the news. And he hasn't really wanted to come and interject with my reviews. He's respectful that way.
I like Bob. I want to meet Bob one.
He's a dick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's an ass.
Then I don't think I want to meet Bob.
He's just annoying.
Stay away from Bob, audience. No,
I want to work on a video about Section 31 and kind of talk about Section 31 before the show, whenever it comes out. And Bob will have a big presence in that video for sure.
Uh-oh.
Is that it? Uh-oh.
That's well, after what you told me about Bob, how else should I react? You just said he's a dick. What am I supposed to say? Great. On to you now.
Hey, look, I got some negative comments for Bob as well. People like, hey, just stop with the Bob thing. It's not funny.
Oh.
So I had to tell Bob to just take a hike for a while.
That's why Bob became an asshole, is you neglected him. That's totally what happened. Bob was your best friend. Bob was your best mate, and you just like threw him to the corner.
Okay, I was Bob's best friend.
There are
he wasn't mine.
There are 4 lights. Hashtag free Bob.
Free Bob. He's not locked up. Come on.
I don't know. Don't keep Bob locked up too long. Anyways, that was a weird segment. That was our weird segment.
That was the strange. Okay, did Data go straight to the mining facility and tell them to stop using the exocomps before he went to Picard, or did he go and tell Picard, "I need to go and tell them this"?
No, he acted
upon himself.
He took action on
it straight to the platform. And say, hey,
yep,
stop this foolishness.
Yep.
Okay, so I mean, he's pretty unstable.
No, he's a commander,
but I mean,
or a lieutenant commander. He has a broad. I think the way that it works is that like the bridge officers have broad authority, and like you could see it interplayed here, where like Riker could have thrown him in the brig and then and ordered him to do the lockouts, but he chooses to like engage with Data, and that says a lot.
Wouldn't you feel threatened though? I mean, wouldn't you be afraid of like all of a sudden?
I think Riker, and I think that at this point by season 6, I say no, because there's been many times where Data has like been shown that he's like out of line and he steps back. He always seems to like recoil. This is an interesting thing. It's like I think this show does it really well and seamlessly, and that's why you don't notice it, because kudos to all the people involved. But I genuinely think that Data by this point, to me, is 100% trustworthy by the audience. And if you've made it through this much Star Trek, you're already like, okay, Data is an exception. But no, androids, soon type androids like Data, especially if they all have discrete personalities, their own personalities, you can't possibly know how another one's going to turn out.
50% of its species are good and 50% of its species are terrible.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean,
and then whatever percentage B4 makes up is useless. So there's he's useless. He can't do anything. He can't do anything. He's just waiting. He's waiting for the next thing to build. I feel
like you are right though. In some way, Data is like, you kind of like, even if he does things that are way out of line, kind of trust him. Whereas 7 of 9, for example, when she acts, when she does something, you're kind of like, where the hell is she going with this? This could potentially be dangerous for the ship or whatever.
Right. We have a huge, as an audience, I think the majority of us have a huge mistrust for Borg, and it's by design, of course. The show definitely.
I think even if she hadn't become a Borg, I think she would have been maybe that kind of individual. I mean, she's very assertive, very, I don't know, she's always contradicting the captain, and I'm not sure, like, maybe just because she lived through that experience, but I think that's kind of, it must be part of her original personality, right?
I think I would tend to agree with that in general. Yeah, absolutely. In general, I would tend to agree with that. I mean, I don't think we all have these experiences, and some of us go through really amazing experiences, and some of us go through really horrifying experiences. But at the end of the day, if you can recover from that, or if you survive through that, there's something that's at the core, I believe, that remains true. At least I hope, Mr. Data. This is a question we can't ever answer. Philosophy. Well, that was the great part with Dr. Crusher, where he kind of discusses what is life. I thought, as a kid, I
That
remember
too.
being really,
That too
really
was a
impacted
good
by that.
moment. That was
Yeah,
a good moment with
yeah.
Bella. I mean, this was a good episode for Dr. Crusher, and to be honest, I
That
never
whole
remember,
part.
this
That whole
episode
part.
unless it comes up again. Right?
I forgot about it. After it originally aired, but when I saw it on DVD, for some reason and I remember I was in my 20s, and I think I might have like come home from a night at the club or drinking or something like that, and I was just like trying to go to sleep, and I turned on a random episode of TNG, and I was like, I have no memory of this. Like when Gandalf's like, I can't remember this place, and I had to like kind of remember it.
I
But
love.
that night, I remember specifically that night, I was bawling tears. I was so emotional. That's why I told you at the beginning that like my experience. So I was bawling tears. I was like so into
Tumble
the.
dies. I know.
Yes, I was,
It's so he has this the exocomp almost like you can feel the sadness as it deactivates, right?
right. No,
It,
it's true.
mm.
One thing we haven't talked about, and I'm surprised you probably already know this, but Jonathan Frakes did direct this
I was
episode.
just about to say that he's not very
I
present in the episode because they direct
right.
the whole
What?
there's the
Wait.
whole
What were you gonna say? Hold on, I missed that. Repeat.
he's not very present in the episode. He
Right,
has
because he's the
a
director.
bit in the beginning, a bit in the end, but there's the whole conference room with the senior staff and everything. He's not there. And like you kind of feel like, oh well, maybe just Riker didn't give a shit, so he was on the bridge and like whatever.
Right.
But then later on, when he talks to Data, he's like, "We've been over this." Like, okay, so you were present, or he was kept updated or whatever. But yeah, he
Okay.
directed the episode. It was very well directed, by the way, because
Beautifully done.
for me to feel emotion for like the little floaty thing is pretty intense.
But didn't you also think I forget the doctor's name, the
That one,
what's her name?
that one, doctor.
The main doctor. Didn't you
Hmm.
also think she was a great actor, and like the way the performance was, and also the character, Dr. Farallon? I loved her. I thought she was great. Like I thought she was a great antagonist in this episode, but without being like hateable. Like she was like, I actually agreed with her perspective as well, and like I could see that being a real, like if someone told me my iPhone were alive and so it refused to work with me. Erase its mind.
How dare you?
How dare you? I don't want this iPhone anymore.
You're trying to trap
I
me in.
reject you. I reject you, iPhone. You are not alive. You are my worker.
You're
I
trying to trap
reject
me into
you.
saying that an actor is terrible again. Is that it?
What's
So
that?
you're trying to trap me into saying that an actor is terrible again. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not. It's never
No,
entrapment.
her
If you go back and hear how many times I say an actor or actress is terrible, it's way more than you've ever said.
in this case, the actor was good. The performance was great. It's just the character felt a little cookie cutter. Maybe I mean the character was supposed to be the one that was like, my tool is my tool. You know, screw you and your opinions about my
but
truth.
I mean, don't you see how kind of like she was blinded kind of by her work? I mean? Like, she even says in the episode, she's like, all I do is wake up in the morning, think about my project, like all day long I think about my project, and when I go to bed at night I think about my project. She has no room in her life for like relationships or love or like anything.
Movie,
She's 100%. What's that? That's
movie.
what she tells Jordy. She tells Jordy in that
What are you
scene,
doing?
remember?
Watch the Avengers. Anyway, I feel like maybe if there wasn't such like a time restraint on this whole project, there wasn't like a deadline on this whole project, and it wasn't so important that Starfleet kind of like inspect this thing that's going on. Maybe she would have been more open to the possibility. Like maybe she would have been more open in the beginning, um, and accepting of the fact that these exocomps maybe are evolving, or have evolved beyond what they originally were. Because it really felt like I need to get this project done now. And
Well,
so like I
she
feel like
did.
maybe
I
she
think
knew,
she.
maybe she knew that they were
Ooh,
actually alive. Like because
ooh.
they just start saying, "Hey, they're alive," and she's all defensive, like, "No, no, they're not." Like, well, maybe they are. No, they're not.
I'm glad they didn't do that because I think that like
That would have
it's
made her
good to
detestable.
see. Well, not just there's always room for a detestable character in drama, right? It's a
Oh
great
yeah,
place
I wish.
it's a great place to be like, but it
It's a
kind of
great
is.
place to be.
If I were gonna be on Star Trek, I would definitely. If they said, "Oh, sorry, we have nothing for you except this really," you're gonna play basically Martin Scarelli of Star Trek. You're gonna be the most hated person, right? I'd be like, yes, I
Do
will
you
take
do
this
you know
role.
the most hated person like Joffrey was in Game of Thrones? That was the most hated person, but we loved to hate him.
Right. It's
Or the
that
most
same
hated,
thing.
like the Red Witch, that like he's just no one really could
I'll
care.
take any part. I'll take any part. I want to be in Star Trek. I
You want
will
to be
take
in Star
any.
Trek? You would be
I'll
the Red
take.
Witch of Star Trek.
I would be the Red Wedding of Star Trek.
The Red Wedding.
Yes, the Red Wedding of Star Trek. I would do
My
it.
God.
Like I'm just sitting there having a dinner at a table, and a laser blast comes and just destroys the hall that I'm eating in. I would be the the Red Wedding of Star.
Can I be the one that shot the laser?
Yes, yes, that's how it should be.
That's my bridge now.
If we ever figure out a way to organize and get our crew to make a Star Trek fan film, I think that should be the opening shot of, of the
I
fan
think we
film.
should make a parody, a Star Trek parody spoof, where
I did one for my birthday when I turned
oh really?
11 years old. I have to look for the tape, but I'll find it and send it to you.
I'm intrigued.
It's the worst. It's the
I
worst
know
thing
that
in the
Cedric
world. Which is
Stalin
the.
did one too, and he shared it online. It was funny. I feel like we should do a
How
Star
fun.
Trek parody where we're basically a bridge crew, but not of a starship, of a podcast, and you're like the captain of the podcast, bossing us all around. We all have our different functions. Like one of them is a sound engineer, one of them, he's uploading on the internet or whatever. One of
It'd
them
be
takes the
awesome.
chat. You get all mad at us and whatever.
We could be the stars of the Lower Decks animated show. We could do the voice talent for
I would love
for a
that.
character
I
on
would
that
love
show.
to do a
Me
voice.
too. I think we should
Mike
totally be
McMahon,
characters.
hire me. I can also make cakes.
Your character's the angry Andorian.
Oh, I love it.
You're the
Angry Andorian.
angry. You'd be the angry Andorian. Very odd sexually, very bizarre, because of the four genders.
I'm of one of those genders that I mean humans can't even comprehend it.
You just look at it. You just look at people, and they don't know what to
I
think
don't know.
you are. They have no.
Like people constantly ask me like, what gender are you? And I just like I make up a different word every time someone asks.
Yes, exactly. So that's the character you. I
Well,
think that while we're on this subject, and I
what,
and I think that
what is
I
this?
think we're close to wrapping up on this episode
Are we?
because I don't know. It's up to you, but I say we're getting on the home stretch. But while we're on this episode, we're gonna take an expanse moment to say that I'm so delighted by all the social media that's coming from the Expanse official Twitter. Like the cast is just doing silly things like ordinary jobs like coffee barista and
And
you know
the crew's having fun with them.
yes, and it's delightful, and it's making me even more for the start of season 4. I think it's gonna be their biggest season ever. I think they're doing an amazing job. It's gonna be insane. I'm excited. All right.
I agree. I have a final comment on the episode actually.
Go ahead.
Throughout the episode, you kind of have this like we as TNG audiences, we're kind of like okay, this is for me. I'm assuming it's the same thing for you. I automatically take the side of the exocomps. I'm like, these guys are alive. Curse you, scientists that's trying to force them to be tools. I want them to thrive, right? This is my opinion from the get-go. But there's always the kind of you keep in mind that maybe they are tools, and maybe the episode will try to find a way to disprove this whole thing. But the moment they talk about disconnecting their command pathways, it makes it sound so real and terrifying. Like it's that moment like, oh, they're gonna disconnect their command pathways. How dare they? That doesn't seem right. I mean, it felt like they were gonna perform some sort of surgery, lobotomize them, and then send them to their deaths, which is essentially what's going on. And it's horrible. That moment hurt me.
It's true. Wow, you are robot empathetic.
I am.
You're
I
like
am.
you're like, so more reason for you to watch Battlestar Galactica, which I don't know how far if you ever even got to that.
I'm pretty much at episode like none at this point.
Yeah, I'm watching that show. But I'm at episode none. None your business. None your concern.
None your concern.
None you're gonna talk about it. Okay, good to know. Good to know.
I will watch it. It's been so so like respected and
I just think you're gonna enjoy it. I think you're gonna enjoy it. You and Mrs. on the Tube will probably enjoy it very much together. As I see it as a couple show.
A couple show.
Yeah, like you got to watch it with a friend. Like it's a friend show.
Is it a couple show or a friend show?
That's the same thing, you know. Like,
okay.
She's your best friend. She's your most favorite friend to watch shows.
Watch it with someone else.
Show. Watch it with someone else.
It's not a solo show.
It's a great show to debate and talk smack about.
Okay.
and wax philosophical about it.
So I have a question about Battlestar Galactica, a very short one.
Yes.
Is it does it have intense social commentary like Star Trek or Babylon 5?
It has intense social commentary, but it's all completely in world, and you don't think of it as like humans. These are like people from. These are like I don't want to give away the show. Spoilers. I'm not going to talk about it.
Just they're not humans. Is that what you're saying? These people.
They're not. It's hard to say what they are. Okay. All I have to say is that
they never officially designated as humans, but
right. But whatever they are, they have a lot in common with humans, and that's all I got to say. But they don't. But it won't offend anyone if that's what you're worried about.
Okay.
It shouldn't.
I'm offended by bad shows. Like if they're bad,
I know.
I'm offended by them.
I know, and when you get started, you're a completionist. So I realize why you would be.
It's a commitment.
It's a commitment. It's true.
There are only two shows that I've stopped watching.
What show?
Orange is the New Black. I had to stop watching that. It was shite. And Preacher. I couldn't carry on. I couldn't. I
don't know either of those shows, but I do want to watch Orange is the New Black because Kate Mulgrew. Yeah. So that's my
standout for me in what I saw. She was right. Standout. And Preacher has.
Do you think Kate Mulgrew should get a Star Trek series like Picard has? Should there be a Star Trek Janeway like be in production as well? Are you down with that?
I would want. I want a Janeway show, but I don't want Kate Mulgrew because, and I love Kate Mulgrew, but I would want a prequel Janeway show.
You want to reboot Janeway?
No, I don't want to reboot Janeway. I just
Stop it with the prequels.
I want a pre-Voyager.
Cut it out.
I want a pre-Voyager. I feel like I feel like
it has to be Mulgrew.
Janeway's story is. I feel like
you can't have Captain Janeway without Kate Mulgrew.
I feel like,
I think Kate Mulgrew. I think the difference is that like when you're dealing with an only something that was born as a TV show and it becomes like as epic as these Star Trek shows do, because Voyager is very epic for you, not as much for me, but you love Voyager.
You're watching it now. You can't tell me it's bad. It's not.
No, it's good. No, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. It's getting better. I had negative feelings about it. Now I don't. It's true. We'll see what happens as I go through my journey.
This is the most ridiculous discussion we've ever had. There is no topic to be off.
That's what, but there's continuity episodes. These are those episodes where like we have to kind of establish continuity for the audience, talk about Starfleet Boy
No one
lore,
pays attention
and
to continuity. No
there's
one's
got to be one person in the universe that monitors our discussions on the internet. There's like a fan of Sean, there's a fan of Sohail. So
You think there's someone that's
there's
watched
one person,
someone has
all of
listened
it.
slash
Yeah.
watched all of these Starfleet Boys discussions.
I'm almost certain of it.
Gone through them, and like they listen to this, they're like, I love all this continuity.
Yeah. I mean I know I'm that person for sure. Like,
You do this with other podcasts?
what's that?
You do this for other podcasts that you listen to?
Yes.
You listen to
Yeah,
all of them? And...
all of it. I'm a completionist for podcasts. Yeah.
Oh,
Like the current, by the way, in case you're curious, currently I'm listening to If I Were You, the Jake and Amir podcast, and it's delightful.
there you go, plugging.
Do you know who Jake and Amir are?
I don't know who they are.
Oh, you got to check it out.
Jake and Amir.
College humor. Oh, I just did another plug.
College humor. I'm not that much of
I know where you're. I see. I don't go to Reddit. I'm not a Redditor. I won't go to those depths of society.
I'm not one for Reddit.
T.
No.
Oh, great hot. Where's the T? You got to show it every time we say it. That's the rule.
T Earl Grey hot. The thing is, it's T Earl hot or just grey. Because
no, it's perfect. It's perfect. Don't criticize. Because look at that angle right there. You can see the whole design.
Yeah.
By the way, did you get that on the Star Trek official website, or how'd you get that?
You'd like to know that?
Yes, of course I want one. Are you kidding? Like, what are you talking
well,
about?
it's none of your business.
What's that?
It's none of your business.
It's also none of my business? Oh, okay. I see.
None of this is your business, sir.
I know Google will help me. I'll figure it out.
Etsy.
Etsy.
A little store, actually.
What's that?
There was a little store that was selling like just nerdy shenanigans.
Oh, in your hometown.
Not in my home specifically.
There's a little store in my closet. I just go in there and things magically
waiting for me to come in.
It's like Narnia. It's like a, which is also another.
I have to buy these things, but I also have to feed.
By the way, this is officially the Starfleet Boy stance on the Kelvin and Prime timeline.
Oh god.
The Kelvin timeline is Narnia.
This is not my stance.
The Kelvin timeline is Narnia.
What?
The Kelvin timeline is Narnia. You can go to it, have some fun. You can go to the Kelvin timeline, have a little fun, but you always have to come back to reality. Like, you've always got to come back. You've got to bring Star Trek back. Back to the Future.
Finish on the thing that we said would talk about because I didn't know what it meant. On Twitter, I said I don't know what that means, and then we said we'll talk about it on the show, and then we didn't.
I can pull up that tweet. It's a very interesting tweet. Yes.
Pull up the
tweet. Actually, you should do that number one.
I don't know where
I'm working on it. Hold on.
While you work on that, I'm going to say a little something to the people that listen to Starfleet Boy and that care about my presence on it or not. For the next 2 to 3 weeks, I won't be present. I won't be here on the next Saturdays because my wedding is coming up. Well, I'm actually already married. My wedding celebration. And so we have friends coming over from France and from various countries, friends and family. And so I will be taking time to be with them, and then we'll be doing the celebration, and then I'll have like a couple days off. And so I won't be investing my Saturday afternoons in Starfleet Boy. But I'll be back after that.
We want live coverage from the. Yes, we do. You have to at least send pictures to the through the DMs or whatever, and then we can share them with the audience.
I can send pictures.
That would be awesome.
It's
You should share them.
Star Trek.
You should do a very special episode of Trek on the Tube, and I'm not even joking. There's a personal request from one of your fans. You know I'm a fan. We want to see. We want to see a. I petition for. I petition for a catching up with Trek on the Tube. A very special
I try
Trek
to
on the
keep my
Tube.
personal life and Trek on the Tube kind of separate.
But you are. I. We can have this philosophical debate offline. but you can do that. You can still share the basic information about yourself. You can celebrate your successes, sir. You're allowed. I think there's only one, unless they did a hologram, like a Section 31 hologram of you. I think no one would believe it's you. You have a very distinct personality. Only you can be you, Sean. Only
really?
you can.
Good.
Yes, that's a good thing. That's the best thing. Are you kidding?
Like a compliment, but did you pull up the tweet?
No, I'm still. Oh, I found the Dr. Pulaski tweet though. That's a very nice.
I was talking. I was biding time, and you didn't pull up the tweet.
I know. I couldn't resist. Hold on. Let me just type a keyword and let Google find it for me.
People are bored by now. We need to offer like a prize or something to people that stay in the end.
I found the tweet. It's interesting that racism is so casual and normalized in Star Trek all the time, but no one ever gets offended. I think it's okay to have preconceived opinions about others, and it's okay to believe cliches, just as long as one keeps an open mind.
Okay, so the second thing I'm saying is I'm fine with people having like preconceived notions about, for example, who I am based on where I come from, what I look like, etc. I'm fine with that, and I think it's natural. It's kind of like a biological trait. Like when you see someone that's big and like strong, you kind of assume that they could beat you up straight away, and like it's fine to be like that. But it's important to keep an open mind, and when you meet the person, you're like, okay, so the person is not exactly how I was and how I was thinking they would be. But what I did want to talk about was how racism is just so casual in Star Trek. And I see this on Deep Space Nine constantly. They're always talking about, oh, the Klingons are like this. Quark's always saying, I don't want Klingons in my bar, they'll just break everything. Etc., etc. Romulans, they're deceitful, so typical of them. You know what I mean?
I think so, but I think it's because they're trying to make light of the idea that most racism goes on in a casual setting. Like most of that kind of talk is the way it's happening in even
so
in
you think
like
a statement done by the Star Trek.
I believe that it's as to I would like to give the authors of Star Trek, the people that work hard to convey the message, to believe that that is the case, is that they're making a statement, and it may not be it may not be executed well at all. It's probably a failure most of the time, as is evidence in what's that episode with Lutan. It's just the worst. It's like the stereotypes are so terrible. It's just like totally wrong choices all around, but at its heart, they're not. That wasn't the intention, was to I don't think it was their intention. So I think that they're always trying to say that like this is what humanity looks like. Star Trek is always presenting itself as a mirror to humanity so that we can be the judge of what's right and what's wrong without feeling like that's wrong.
But then you do agree that there is like a constant kind of just nonchalant racism going on in Star Trek. It's very present.
Yeah, I think that when I think about it that way,
I find it interesting. Gets offended.
I think that like it's not that I see characters constantly getting offended at other things, so I think that the show balances that feeling, but I don't think that it's casually treated. I think it's just realistically treated. Like that's what life is like. Most of the things that are said are happening the way that they're happening in Star Trek. So yeah, maybe to just the letter of your statement, yes, it's correct. But I think there's a bigger intention than just making it a casual thing. I think the intention is to show that that's a problem.
I think you're conflating the overall stance on racism by Star Trek with individual characterizations that are in fact helping to promote the larger cause by showing the incorrect behavior. What does that mean?
I think we just talked about it, but
It's
basically what I'm
that,
trying
that
to
to me
say,
is just words following each
the
other.
word the word conflating, as I understand it, means that you're combining two disparate things, like two things that don't necessarily correlate. And so the way I see it is that, like, in your statement, you're saying that normalized in Star Trek as an entity, like, I don't think it's normalized in Star Trek. I think it's shown in many different ways. Like, it's shown in both dramatic ways, like, the Hitlers of Star Trek, like trying to wipe out,
Depending,
like,
depending on the plot or the story. Or,
yeah, right. It's shown, in a very realistic, and it's taken seriously, whether it's that or the nuanced, casual racism, if you will.
hmm, okay.
Except with the exception of a few failures along the way, I think they do a good job at it.
Well, there you go. That's. Have we covered everything?
Yeah, I feel
The
so
episode.
great that we had this. I'm so glad that we had this Twitter follow up on the air, because it means you have to read the Twitter and then you have to come over here to.
Cross connected continuity.
It's awesome. I love it. It's
Now.
great. Sean, I want to ask you a
Shout
question.
out to Nick
Where?
Ketwalski because he thought we were mad at each other because
Oh,
because he's not aware that we DM quite often and have laughs
uh,
all the time. But
uh,
he was only paying attention to our public tweets and was like, "You guys are going at each other." Like, no, we're not. Come on. And he thought we might be mad.
Oh wow. I can say on my part I was never mad. Maybe for like 0.08 seconds where I was like, what is he saying? Like that
Yeah,
moment.
but that's a natural reaction. Sometimes you
That's a
just read
natural
something and you're like,
reaction.
"What is that?"
But
But then you're fine. You're not angry.
I think you definitely triggered me, and I apologize if that if
I
that came
apologize for
across.
triggering you, sir.
I do, I really do. I don't mean to trigger you, Sean.
You might space me. You might send me to the vacuum of space. It happens, so I don't want to trigger you.
um oh
You
my
might send
goodness.
me into a sun.
No, Starfleet boy and Truck on the Tube are in good standing, as you can see from this episode. There's a lot of laughs, LOLs all the way. Um, that'd be funny. We should stage like an argument, like
A
an epic
space.
argument. I don't think we have to stage it. It's too much fun to argue about Star Trek. It just naturally happens. I'm glad we have Star Trek to argue about. If nothing else, Sean, we'll always have this.
I'll always have,
We'll always we'll always have Paris.
we'll call each other when we're like 60 or something. Hey,
Well, in the future, these will be like holodeck panels. We'll go to virtual conventions that are ongoing year round.
if I could live my life just like reviewing and talking about Star Trek episodes, that would be great. If that could be my
I think you're going to be able to. I think that's happening. But if I could also be in Star Trek, or bring you coffee in Star Trek, or like shovel papers
to a
into
voice on lower
garbage,
decks.
I could do a voice on Lord. I'm available to Star Trek in a professional capacity. I'm willing to negotiate, a favorable contract.
I will soon have hopefully my permanent
How are
residency,
you?
which
What's
means
that?
I will hopefully soon have my permanent residency for Canada.
Ooh.
Which means I will be able to work wherever I want for whomever I want. So if someone wants to hire me in Pinewood Studios or something to be on Discovery, I can be on Discovery. I
I
can.
think your letter of recommendation should be your YouTube page, and just be like, "This is why you need to."
I don't think that that's very flattering towards Discovery. A lot of
No, well, I don't think that people who you're so, I if I were running,
they might watch it and be like, hmm.
I want someone critical of my show on my team, I would work on any Star Trek show. especially now that they all are
But
great.
I would too. But they would probably tell me to like keep my criticisms to myself when on set. Like, can you just not complain about the props that we're giving you? Because like
Yeah,
they give you a tricorder or something, you're like, why is it pink? And
I bet it's like
I
that.
mean, and they're like,
I
what?
bet it's like that 100%. It's
Then it's
totally
like,
like that.
just do the scene. Stop talking about how the uniform
I
isn't the
bet
right.
it was even more like that during TNG because like we've observed that it seems like fans like
Yeah,
of
super
Providence,
fans of the original
super
series or whatever.
yeah, get to be on TNG doing miscellaneous tasks in the background. It happens. It can happen. I want my miscellaneous.
Shout out to the extra, the transporter operator in this episode. By the way,
Yes, he was great.
he was great. I liked him. He was a nice guy, and he executed his not only his fictional job very well, but he was also a good actor.
And
So props to
it's
that
Chief Kelso.
chief.
And I don't remember
Um,
Kelso having the same prominence that O'Brien did, but I do remember this is like his second episode, or maybe he'll have another one, but he comes on a few times.
okay, well, good for
Yeah.
him. He seems nice. I like
Yeah,
him.
he seems pretty cool.
There you go. That's it.
We
That's
did
it.
it. Now we have to rate the episode.
Over.
And I'll go first as per tradition. I give this episode a
The only
8
tradition you
point
respect.
8.5.
Eight
And
point five. That's
yes,
quite a lot of points. That's kind of it's kind of high,
yeah,
isn't
I
it?
wanted to give it a 9, but I have to admit our discussion made me rethink it,
Mm,
because I think that the biggest thing that we didn't talk about in our discussion was that there was sort of this like overall expediency that would have benefited from like a larger episode. Like I think that like the thing that
God,
was hard for me was like the timing didn't make sense. Like was there an emergency going on, or is everything like casual and informal? Like the scenes just didn't seem to like show any urgency until even at the end they're like, oh, we have 20 minutes before Jordy and Picard die, but like it's 20 minutes. It's like not exactly like an emergency, but it's not like it's not safe by any means. So I
really.
don't know, I just felt, to me, I felt like I wanted a little more action, perhaps a little more, but maybe I didn't feel that way when I was younger. I can't remember. I do remember this time I was just a little bit like,
I
oh,
agree,
like
actually. To be honest, I agree with you. I feel like I like this episode more than it's good. Does that
right,
make sense?
right.
Um, like I appreciate like a
But
lot
an
of the
8.5 is high.
and yeah, an 8.5 is pretty high. I don't give it an 8.5. I'll give it like a 6.5. Um, because I don't know. I think it's not a bad episode by any means. It's just it could have been more than what it is, and I appreciate it more than what it gave us.
Yeah. Although it did make me cry that one time, so I
That
don't
was
know. I
you
could
were
be.
you were
I was
yeah,
emotionally compromised.
you were compromised in that moment.
I
Did you really cry? You don't even.
did. I was like bawling tears, and the memory of that scene, that time in my life when I cried at this episode, came back this time. Obviously, since I talked about it, and I was like emotionally moved by that. I started to like tear up a little. I was like, oh, I was once capable of of extreme emotions for the exocomps, but but I don't know if I am anymore. Although I would gladly take one. Uh,
Yeah, I'd have an extra comp as well. That would be nice.
um, I would like to see them in the Picard series. I would like to see a follow up to the exocomps. I think that would be an amazing thing. Uh, a last minute question that I didn't ask you that I just thought of. It was in my notes, but I just realized like in Star Wars, droids seem to have a similar characteristic in that they will avoid self harm. And I wonder if that's like, you know,
There's a debate about that. I think there's a debate in Star Wars because there are some droids that are conscious or sentient and some droids that are not.
right, like R2 and 3PO seem conscious to you or
Yeah.
no? Right,
Yes.
okay.
And like some others are not. Like some others are clearly constructed as tools, and others are not. But then I feel like eventually we'll get a Star Wars story where like sentient droids Actually, we already had that, didn't we? Didn't they do that in Solo? The conscience, the sentient
Oh, the
droid
droid.
was fighting
Sorry,
the
that's right.
rights for the
So,
droids.
yes, yes, Solo did do it. By the way, hashtags make Solo 2. I'm on that train.
You know what?
Starfleet.
You know what? If they were to do
Yeah.
anything, just don't do Solo 2. Do a Lando. All right? At least.
Oh my God, you want to hand it over to Land? I agree.
I mean,
But I love Solo too.
you
No,
can
I want
you can
both.
like
We
Solo.
have
You can like Solo.
there's room for
You're
both
allowed to
films.
like Solo, but just don't make another one.
No, make another Solo. I need a Solo too.
Do the night.
Then we can have
The ultimate.
a Lando.
That's what people want.
We should find out why Lando and Solo kind of haven't seen each other in all those years. Because when they re-meet in Empire Strikes Back, it makes it seem like they hadn't really seen each other. So I do believe that the next Solo movie should serve as the explanation as to why they kind of disagree with each other, or split up, or go separate ways. Whatever that decision was, it's worth another story in my mind.
But the couple didn't work out. They were together for a while, but it didn't work out.
Possibly, but I want to see it on screen. I want it to be on my Canon. What is it? Canon knife. I don't want to.
All right, I've had enough. I've had enough of the Solo
Me
talk.
too.
Can't deal
Me
with
too.
it.
Thank you for yes. Thank you for joining me and for clarifying that we're not arguing, because I knew it.
Yeah, we both knew that we weren't arguing, but apparently
Yes.
people on the outside
I'm sorry we make it seem like we're arguing. We need to be friendlier, Sean. We have to be friendlier to each other. We owe it to our audience to not feel
we are
like
friends.
they're caught. They're like caught in a drama.
They are. My God, these people hate each other. We don't hate. I like him. I like his face.
And on that note, oh wait, sorry, I can't let you go.
Oh,
Did you hear that LeVar Burton got a park named after him in his hometown of
I am
Sacramento?
very proud of him.
Yes. So shout out, because we
Congratulations.
didn't talk enough about you in this episode, but you were pretty funny, but also awesome.
Congratulations to the park. It's a nice park. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I just know that the name.
It's online. It's online.
It's Love Burton Park. It's pretty
I've
cool.
actually been to Sacramento, and now I'm excited to go back, because this time I'm intentionally going to go to that park.
I
Obviously,
hope they have like a sculpture or a picture of him or something, without the beard. But I hope that they have like a little something of him, a commemoration.
but LeVar Burton wears a beard now, and it's awesome. His current
Oh, his current beard is good.
is awesome. It may not have been as great in this episode, but
This one was good. But
so if they do current version of LeVar statue, do you want it to be doing the thing like pointing to the stars or something like that?
that would be amazing. That would be awesome.
You just made me figure out how I'm going to plan my funeral now. So hopefully if I live to be an old man and I die, I would like my statue of me in what's that?
Get anything?
What do you get? You mean, do you get anything when I die?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you get like a huge chunk of my estate.
Oh yes. What's that? Like the mic?
At the at the moment, it's the mic.
Is that really a huge chunk?
But think about it. Every time you talk into it, you'll be like, I'm so close to my deceased friend."
I wouldn't use it. I'd put it up on the
on the bed. It'd be a background character.
I'd edit Starfleet Boy conversations so that I can like make you speak through the mic or like use some of the words. And then I'll have like, the ghost of Starfleet Boy.
So if I'm successful, you'll be able to visit a monument somewhere. It won't. I'm not sure it'll be in Florida. We'll have to see. I might have my body shipped to like a more northern climate area where my remains would last through the next ice age or whatever's coming. But anyways, there'd be a statue exactly like Zephram Cochrane, exactly like him, but with my face on the thing, doing the exact same thing in Star Trek First Contact. It would be there. And then, depending on who the designer is and how much the or Patreon, whatever it is that funds this endeavor, they'll have like everyone else around doing the same pose that was on Starfleet Boy, all the people that were on. It'd be cool.
So you're not even paying us for your stuff. You're fundraising this. People have to pay for this.
Yes. What do you think I am? Starfleet billionaire? I'm Starfleet boy. I need to change my hashtag to Starfleet billionaire.
All right.
I have billions of Federation credits. All right, and on that note, keep mining that Bitcoin.
Keep mining that Bitcoin. Oh my god, you went back to that joke.
Live long and prosper, and we'll
Indeed, live
see
long
you
and
next
prosper.
time.